just on the road north of Ambleside here to do a pretty big walk today. The Fairfield Horseshoe, so ain't Wainwrights, but we're powered on petrol station bacon butties and vending machine coffee. Not sure if that's a good idea, but we'll probably find out in about an hour or so. So just heading up the main road here, going to cut into the grounds of Rydal Hall, head out the back there, and then up quite a steep ascent. I think the first Wainwright of the day, which is Nabscar. So I think we do a lot of climbing. Ooh, watch out for the tree. A lot of the ascent, a lot of the hard ascent quite early on. So yeah, probably be blowing for tugs after the first bit. Get up that bit, and then yeah, onto Heron Pike. And then pretty much self-explanatory all the way around, similar to when we did the Kentmere one, just a big U-shape. And it was a bit windy on the last video, so I've invested, or got a birthday present actually off my brother, cheers Chris, a foam cover for the GoPro here, so hopefully if it is windy it'll muffle some of the sound so you can hear my profound words about the walk that we're doing. I'll speak to you soon. So I've just started the walk proper now, walked through the grounds of Rydal Mount, which was home to Wordsworth. You might remember from the Kentmere Horseshoe video when we were in Grasmere, his family are buried in the church there, St Oswald I think it's called. But anyway, we've just, as I say, we've just come up through the back of there, started the walk proper, and you can really start to get some good views quite quickly. See out across Windermere there, been lucky with the weather so far. Mountain weather forecast said feels like temperatures of -6, -7 on the top. So we've got clothes for any weather, obviously, as you have to when you're in the lakes. But doesn't feel like it can get anywhere near those temperatures at the moment. It feels like a spring day, but a lot of that's probably down to low levels of fitness. So yeah, gaining height quite quickly here. That's pretty good, as you can see. A series of stone steps just going up towards Nabscar, which is peeking out there. Not sure if you can see it just beyond the trees. And in other good news, blasted ferns, bane of our lives, seem to be dying off. So good riddance until next spring. So keep trudging up. There's the two accomplices there, Chris and special guest for the week, Si Wilson. He's the one with the big grizzly beard on the left. So keep trudging up and speak to you again at the top. So we were hoping this might have been the top, but yeah, a false dawn, a false top, as is usually the case, and Si is burning it off up there, showing us up really, so don't think we'll invite him again. play a little game. Falsy or no falsy?
This one is. Yeah, but...
You're ruining the game for the viewers. Well, yeah, falsy as Sarah's just giving away the ending. Well, there it is. Now, is that another falsy? That's the question.
Is there a falsy after the falsy then?
Let's find out. So we're nearly at the top of Nab Scar now, and if you just look back this way, you can get an appreciation of where we've come from. So we parked at the top of Ambleside, come through here, up past Rydal Mount, up this steep path here. I'm just having a rest. You can see over to Rydal Water. Not sure if the camera picks it up, but there's Rydal Cave. And then in the distance, in the background, is Weatherlam, Old Man of Coniston, just shrouded in the clouds there. And then in the foreground, the middle ground here, is the Langdale Valley. But we're going that way, towards the head of the horseshoe. And then we're going to come back down the ridge on the opposite side, High Pike, Low Pike, and then back down into Ambleside. So we've just done a pretty hard trudge up Nab Scar. It was pretty decent path, but pretty hard going, to be honest. So it has started to flatten out. You can just see the cairn on the sheep there. We're just heading up to there before we go on to the next one. It looks like it's another bit of a climb there to Heron Pike. I've seen a couple of groups out today. There's a couple further up there, you know, much faster than us. And then this group of lads here, just in front and behind me, who seems to be keeping a similar pace to us. Watch myself here, just going over it, style.
There's the way, boys.
At the top of Nab Scar, hopefully the new technology around the camera is doing the trick and you can hear me. I'm sure you can appreciate the wind's really picked up. It's blowing what little hair I've got to the side, probably the beard too. I haven't got my glasses on this week, not for purposes of vanity, just so they don't steam up, which I found they did last time. So now we can see just down to Grasmere there, where we stayed when we did the Kentmere Horseshoe, and the church I mentioned earlier, where Wordsworth, his family are buried. So we're just continuing up this way, up Heron Pike, bit of a climb, and then I think, and I hope, it should flatten out. Just as we're continuing towards Heron Pike now, the wind has picked up, coming in from the west. Still just got my base layer on, caught in that limbo state where you're wondering whether to put another layer on or not, which Chris has done. But I know as soon as I do that, the wind will stop. I'll be sweating my ass off, and I'll be going straight back in the bag. So I'm going to stay firm for the moment until there's icicles forming on my nose, and then have a little rethink. So it's starting to kick up again now here, a little bit of a climb. But hopefully it should start flattening out once we get on top of Heron Pike, but we'll find out as we go. Normally overly optimistic in these kind of circumstances, so I'm sure there's a lot more climbing to be done. Nearly went. Got to the top of Heron Pike. Wind's died off a bit now, See some good views down there. Grasmere just tucked away at the bottom. See over to Stone Arthur, and we're continuing this way. So the fell you can see to the right there isn't actually one of the Wainwrights. It's Rydal Fell. Quite a steep crag off to the right there. We're carrying on to the tall one there, which is Great Rig, and then just beyond this Fairfield, and then we hook a right at the top there down to Hart Crag, Dove Crag, and then you can see just opposite there we've got High Pike. And then the Fairfield Mountain Marketing Board must have run out of ideas when they named the next one, because that's the imaginatively entitled Low Pike, and it's just a steady walk all the way back down to Ambleside. So we seem to be making a good pace now that we've broke the back of the first couple. There is a bit of a climb ahead, as you can see. Looks pretty steep getting up towards the top there, but then once we get to the head of the horseshoe it looks pretty undulating, nothing too major, but we'll find out for sure when we get over there. So I'll put the camera away before I go on my backside and catch these two up. I'll speak to you again soon. Just summited Great Rig in the background, as you can see by the tea cozies on the head. It has got a bit colder, so I've had to relent, put the down jacket on and the hat. We're just headed up towards Fairfield now, so if I spin the camera around, see there's a pretty clear path wending its way up there, but the wind is really coming in now, so I might have to put gloves on shortly. Keep moving to keep warm. I think we'll try and find a sheltered spot when we get to the top of Fairfield to get some scram down us to fuel us for the walk back to the pub. So the temperature has really dropped now. If you're wondering why I look as if I'm about to rob a post office. We're getting some great views here. Just got seat sandal. Move the camera up so you can't see my hand. Seat sandal just here over to Dunvale Raise, and the light is really just illuminating the fells over there. Looks a bit brighter over there than it is here, but we're just continuing up. Soon be at the top of Fairfield, and then yeah, you can see over to the other side there the way we're going to come down. Once again, it's pretty plain sailing, I think, so we should make up some good time on the way down, because it has been a steady trudge all the way up here. A bit different to the Kentmere Horseshoe when we did that. Came up the Grasmere Pass initially. You can see that on my first video on the channel if you look back. So yeah, a lot of the climbing there up the Grasmere Pass was done straight away, and then it was pretty grassy and undulating after that. This has been a bit of a trudge, flat for a bit, further trudge, flat for a bit, and then another trudge up. But I think you can see over there, once we break the back of that saddle, it is pretty undulating. So the rain is just coming in now. I've got the Gore-Tex on as well, which means I'm getting hotter, so I'm climbing up, but got to stay dry. I'm sure I'll be taking it off shortly for another wardrobe change. So we're just at the top of Fairfield. Weather is absolutely tropical. Just look over that way. You can in the distance. You can just about see Striding Edge, go to the top of Helvellyn, coming down to Dollywagon and Nethermost Pike. But it's absolutely battering down here now, so we'll probably try and find a bit more of a sheltered spot, get some food. We're going to stop for some food there on the top of Fairfield. We just got absolutely drenched. Showers just came in from nowhere, soaked to the bone on my legs because like a fool, I haven't got any waterproof kecks. So we've just walked through an area behind there called Pile of Stones, which is a pile of stones, and we're just headed towards the next fell here. Now I'll put my phone away with the map on it. I can't quite remember the name. I think it's Crag, possibly. Could be totally wrong, but I'll duly correct myself when we get up there and I'm able to check the map again. So it's still pretty windy, but great views down there across Windermere, over Ambleside. You'll see the light reflecting off the surface, rain there over to the side, and you can even see Coniston just over there in the background, where we're actually staying tonight. So we're staying in the youth hostel there. Going to go to the Sun Inn, I think, first, and then end up in the old Black Bull, which has got its own brewery out the back. So I'll do a little clip on that later, just talking about the beers and the pub itself. So we'll keep going this way until we get to the top. I think it drops down into a saddle just beyond where the lads are there, and then kicks back up, and then pretty much a stroll all the way back down. But yeah, absolutely drenched, freezing. Can't wait to get into the warmth now. So we've just got to the head of the horseshoe, which is called Rydal Head. Just a little saddle here. You can see back along the way we've come, all the way down there, and it is Hart Crag. I just had a little check on the map. My phone's got a little bit of charge, so we'll kick up here. But yeah, it's a pretty grim day now. Well, there are spots of sunshine. It's rainy and it's quite windy as well, so it's got to be, as I said before, the feels like temperature, which I doubted in my naivety when we were sweating on the way up. The feels like temperatures today are -6, -7, and it does feel like that now, even though I said it was roasting before. But let's see how we're going to get across here. You never know with these puddles. Are you going to drop to your ankle or to your waist? Oh, pretty safe. So just going up here now. As I've said, I think this is the last bit of meaningful climb. Absolutely drenched, pouring down. Hopefully you can hear me with the foam cover I've got. I'll only know about that once I come to edit the video, so I hope all of this hasn't been a waste. We'll find out when I get home, I suppose. So, just got to the top of Hart Crag now. The weather is still miserable. It's funny because you're so lucky to have this landscape, be able to access it, and have the the physical ability to make the most of it, which of course some people aren't lucky enough to have. But when you're up here in conditions like this, absolutely drenched, doesn't feel too lucky. But I know as soon as we get to the pub in the warmth, look back on it and hopefully laugh. Doesn't feel too funny now though. So yeah, do this one and then on to the next one, which is Dove Crag, High Pike, and then Low Pike.
Yeah,
So we've just come down off Park Crag there. You can probably see it's like the surface of the moon. So it was pretty slippy coming down those rocks. We're just heading up Dove Crag. We've seen this group of fell runners. I'm not sure if they're orienteering actually. Got maps in the hand. But they're braver than me. Wearing shorts. And they're also a lot fitter clearly. So I've learnt my lesson. Invest in waterproof pants because my legs are absolutely freezing now. Keep them moving to keep them warm. As I say, just kicking up to Dove Crag here. OS map says we've got about 2 hours left, but we'll see how we get on. I know thirst is a great hastener. Just got to the top of Dove Crag, just touched the curtain there behind me, and yeah, wind, rain. I probably look like a Yeti's backside, snot all over my face, beard everywhere, soaked, grumpy, but we're on the way down now. Hi mate. There's quite a clearly defined path ahead of us here, which looks like the M6 compared to the boulders we were walking on back there. Hopefully pick up a bit of speed down here. Get onto High Pike and the imaginatively entitled Low Pike. Just on High Pike there, penultimate fell of the day. I'm just working our way down to Low Pike now. So if you look over the other side there, you can see Red Screes, the Kirkstone Pass just on the other side of those, and then you can see Si and then down into Ambleside and Windermere beyond. It's pretty boggy on this path, a few pretty muddy bits. But yeah, just working our way down now to the next and final fell. This wall's providing pretty good cover from the wind and rain. Still soaked to the bone obviously, so we're gonna have to dry off in the car park and then onto the pub. Just had some fun coming down those slabs of rock there. It's like a Spanish water park. Got to slide down on our backsides. Ooh, getting fed up now. OS map's saying there's an hour and a half left, but hoping that's not true, because there's a final fell in front of us there, Low Pike, and then it's pretty much straight down I think. So I don't know if it's a bit of a drag, possibly, once it starts to flatten out on the other side. To watch where I'm going here, but we'll see when we get to the top of this last one. Just come off the last fell of the day over my shoulder there, which is low pike. Just meandering our way through here. I think there's a bit of a drop down here, so I've sent Si first. He'll cushion the landing. Oh, it's not too bad. I feel like that's a bit of an anticlimax then. It's a good job we're on this side of the wall, because over there the wind's really picking up. So this has given us some good shelter for the final leg back into Ambleside. Jeez, it's slippy here. So I think most of my talking on this walk will have been done on the first half, because of the pretty bad weather that kicked in once we got up Fairfield. But typically, just as we're getting down towards the end, the sun is cracking the flags. It's come a really nice day now, so I might have to strip off a few of the layers because it's getting a bit steamy now. Just climbing over the, I think what was the final stile of the day, and then we should be on blessed concrete.
I put it on this morning to fucking dry it overnight. Yeah. Put it on.
So we're back on terra firma. The rain stopped, stripped a few layers off. Well, that's all terra firma, I suppose, but you know what I mean. Good, decent tarmac. Somehow ended up in a housing estate. Not quite sure how, but I think we're going the right way. We're going down anyway. I can hear the traffic. So I think we're nearly back at the car, and then we're going to get in there, get changed out of our wet stuff, and then head to the Drunken Duck. So we've just come to this pub called the Drunken Duck on the way from Ambleside to Coniston, and the story goes that the name comes from about 200 years ago, when the landlady came out and found her ducks dead in the road. So she took them in to cook them, plucked all the feathers out, and then after she'd done that, they woke up. And it turns out when she checked around the back of the pub that one of the beer barrels had split open and they were drunk, but they had no feathers now. So the story goes that she knitted them little cardigans and jumpers to keep them warm. It's a bit of a fancy tale and probably apocryphal, but a good story nonetheless. So we've just been inside, just come outside to make a phone call and film this. But all of the beers are brewed on site, I believe, and they're all named after former pets of the pub. So a really nice place. I think if you want food, it's quite high end, so you've got to book a good few weeks in advance. But we're just having a quick flyer on the way to Coniston. So we've just been to the Sun Inn. Now we're headed to a real beer mecca, to be honest. The Black Bull in the middle of Coniston. Great pub. They brew their own beers out the back. The Coniston Brewery. You might have had Bluebirds before, but they have a whole range of them in here. The pub's basically a tap room for the brewery out the back, so you're not getting it any fresher. And what's great about the beer is it's actually made using the water that comes off the fells out the back. So you've got Coniston Old Man, Weatherlam, a few others out the back here. And so the water that flows down from those fells is made into beer in this place and served in the pub out front. So I'm just about to be run over by a tractor. So yeah, tractor's gone past now. What was I saying? Yeah, the beer in here is made with the water that comes straight off the fells. So you can't get a fresher pint than that, to be honest. And you can, in fact, you can see said water just down here. I'm not sure what Cumbrian is for terroir, but it's got it in abundance here. So I'm going to try a few of them now. I think they've got about 12 cask ale pumps and about 10 other pumps as well. Not sure we'll get through all of those, but certainly give it a good try.